Hello, guys, and welcome to P3 Educate's live series. I'm Ethan Dodgen, and I'll be interviewing James Donegan. And please ask questions throughout the interview. We're going to add him here. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. You?
I'm, it's the world is falling apart, but otherwise, hanging in.
Yes. Good. Hi, I'm Ethan Dodgen, and I'll be interviewing James Donegan, a singer, actor, and fitness teacher. James, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. You said most of it. My name's James Donegan. I was born in South Texas near San Antonio and went to school actually for graphic design through undergrad, and then went to essentially like an art school after that for design. But while I was doing that, did my first professional theater. I studied voice for a long time. I'd always sung, but I just never guess it occurred to me that I could make a living at it. So just over 21 years ago, I moved to New York and to start really auditioning and realized how little I knew and starting that stuff. And it's been pretty, I'm sure we'll get into details, but like it's all been, I'm lucky enough that I have other things I like to do that are artistic and creative that keep me fulfilled and are flexible enough that when theater work comes along, I'm able to take it. So, yeah.
For sure. Cool. How'd you get into acting and singing?
I think like a lot of people, I grew up, they found out in Sunday school that I could sing, so then suddenly you're doing solos in church or encouraged I was encouraged to be musical. I don't necessarily just sing specifically by my parents or whatever like that. They didn't think about singing as a real thing. When I first asked for voice lessons, my mom said, well, you know how to sing. Why do you need voice lessons? You have a pretty voice. And I was a teenager by that point. And and I've always loved musical theater. It's a calling, I think. To do that. So I don't know exactly. I did my first professional theater when I was 22 or so, and if they're dumb enough to pay me, I'm smart enough to take their money. So here we are. So I certainly would do it for free. Don't tell.
What cast recordings have you done?
I have done two. So I was in a show called Forbidden Broadway for several years. I did two of the editions that got recordings I am on. So that's Forbidden Broadway, Rude Awakening, and Forbidden Broadway Goes to Rehab. And I'm actually the logo for Rude Awakening. I'm like the Spring Awakening kid on the cover. And then I did a studio cast album of Allegro that the Rodgers and Hammerstein organization released. It's a beautiful recording. There's so many big fancy stars on it, like Autumn McDonald, Angela Lansbury. I am very much in the chorus. I was never in the room with those people, but I have one solo, and it is this. I will sing it for you now. It's spectacular. And now your clothes are spotlessly clean. That is it. That's my entire solo on that 2 CD recording.
Nice.
Nice. It was fun. It was a really neat thing. It turned out beautifully. But so I guess just those 3 cast albums.
What is the process of creating a cast recording?
Good question. I'm sure varies depending on the size of the project. Forbidden Broadway is such a small. It's a 5-person show with a pianist. So one thing that's nice about doing a cast album, like whether it be Broadway or off Broadway like mine was, that you're doing the show a lot. So I'm 8 times a week I'm performing this material. So it's in my body. I have a performance of it. And we go into the studio one day. They take a day off and record it. The first one I did was like that. The second one I did, I had replaced them when I was only in the show for a week. Somebody else had to leave, and I
Uh-huh.
replaced him. So it was at the end of my first week I did the cast album, and it was a much different experience. It was much more, because now suddenly it's under the microscope. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's what you would imagine it to be in that circumstance that we did, you're scheduled for doing ensemble stuff, and then they kind of break it down over the day into solos. And now the Allegro thing was totally different because they had a lot of money. So it was a huge
Yeah.
project with all this. And so they had recorded the orchestra, I want to say in like Poland, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the orchestration was laid down. We, as the chorus, I think there were 24 of us, maybe. So we had one rehearsal. We came in on the day, and it's just, you do it a million times until it
Yeah.
feels like something. But that was different because you're singing with a track, and the conductor is conducting to a track, and you have to be, you're beholden to that. They can't go back and say, oh, well, I feel this performance differently today. I would like to
Yeah.
stretch this out. No,
Yeah.
no, you got to do it. You got to fit it in the time.
Yeah. Is it different? Is it different singing with a track than singing with a live orchestra?
For sure, of course, because there's more of a collaboration. If you're, I don't know if you've ever performed with backing tracks live. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. That if you're with an accompanist or an orchestra or a conductor, you're breathing together. You're feeling the music together.
Yeah.
It really is a collaboration in the truest sense.
For sure. Yeah.
And if you screw up, they're with you. So loop back to Molly, which
Exactly.
is wonderful. But if you're with the track, that is set. So even if something is wrong on their end, you have to sing it like that because that's what, and instrumentalists get paid more than singers almost all of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw you you're a fitness trainer, into fitness, or have fitness related things. How do you balance acting, teaching, and singing?
Well, I will say the hardest part of it, because I teach group fitness, and so you're in front of a class, and it really is a performance. I mean, that's what I like about it. I think that's why I'm good at it, if I'm good at it, because you're in front of people. It's about communicating information clearly and succinctly and projecting and using your voice. What was surprising to me that I had not foreseen is how vocally taxing it is. And so, to have to really take care of my singing voice, sometimes modify my teaching schedule so that the thing that, frankly, that I believe I was put on earth to do is not compromised by my day job, So it's in learning how to, it's not the same as theatrical speaking even. And you have a mic, but doesn't always work. And so just physically, there's that. But thankfully, like I said, my survival job, so I teach the group fitness stuff. I also teach singing privately to individual students, and I also use the graphic design background to do freelance work like that. So it's all kind of pieced together. So thankfully, when an acting job comes along, I have flexibility I can sub out my classes at the gym, or I can reschedule my students or my design clients. I can work on it when I'm not in rehearsal or whatever. So that's been a real gift. And also during this time when the gym is closed and we can't have any of that stuff, it's been good to have something else that I do and you notice they're all creative things. They're all sort of artistic expressions. I'm also real bad at sitting at a desk. I just finally, because I'm at my desk so much more now during stay at home, that I got one of those things you put on it so you can stand up. Like a lift or whatever for my computer. So I cannot, my legs just start to
cramp up.
Oh, it's horrible. I don't know how people do it. I think about the people who come to take classes from me, and they feel, and they come in dragging, or they come like, come on, my job is to get their energy up. And I have a whole new respect because I don't feel like doing it after I've been working all day. I don't feel like going to work out.
Yeah.
I do a little bit every day because I have to, but yeah, when you're having a real job, a big boy job.
Yeah. We have a question here. Are you doing any virtual fitness classes?
I am not. And I have a couple of people who take my classes regularly have asked me to. One of the things I teach is cycling, so I don't have a platform to teach an indoor cycling class.
Yeah.
I have, and there are so many people who number one, rely on teaching for their living, and B, number two, and so I don't want to take money away from them or time away from them when I have other work I can do. But also, I don't feel like I would necessarily add that much to the marketplace. Like, I teach a good class, but so many people do. And so, like, I don't know, maybe I will. I don't know. Talk to me in August, and I'll be like, starting up the Zoom classes. I don't know.
Yeah. We have another question. Another comment up is beginning. Sing something for us. John said.
Hi, John. I don't know. Well, I just sang that my solo from Allegro. Did you miss it, John? Were you late, John? Did you come in late? Because you missed it. I don't know. No, I'm not going to do that. Sorry,
okay, that's
too
fine.
Awkward.
John,
follow me on Instagram or something. Maybe I will.
May not hear. What would an average day? What would an average show day look like for you?
So normally, actually, I'm someone who I like the whole thing. I mean, there are people who really enjoy the rehearsal part and then get the performances. They're doing 8 shows a week, and it can be monotonous. I love it all. I love structuring my day around that. So, of course, depending on if we have a matinee or not, get up, eat something good, do something that moves my body, a physical warm up. Not necessarily always exercise. I mean, often it is, but sometimes it's just a little yoga or something, a vocal warm up. I like to get to the theater very early. So if it's an 8 o'clock show, I'm there at 6:45 or 7 usually.
Yeah, crazy.
I like to hang out. I don't like to be rushed. I'm always the first one ready. I don't think I've ever done a show where I'm not, at least professionally, because I like to just go and sit in the wing, and I'm not doing anything that's particularly deep or prepare. I mean, usually by the time, if you're lucky enough to get to run a show at all, I mean, if you're doing a 2 or 3 week run in a regional theater, you have to keep your head in the game a little more, or you have to be a little more focused because there's no muscle memory for it yet. But for me, at least, I just like to kind of sit and be quiet. And some people come up and wonder if they're disrupting some meditation. I'm like, no, I don't like to be around the chaos of dressing room, and that energy does not serve my performance.
For sure.
A lot of people, it doesn't bother them at all. But so I'd say, I make sure I'm a little careful about what I eat anyway, but I do have to be super mindful that, I know this is a youth theater, but nothing that makes you gassy. Like I'm not going to get burritos or even big things of vegetables or bready things or that stuff.
Yeah. Do you work on 2 show days? John asks.
Yeah, almost always. And in fact, usually I like to do something between shows. So, again, mostly because, particularly it depends. Forbidden Broadway was a very physically and vocally taxing show. So as I just did last year, Sweeney Todd out in Salt Lake City at the Pioneer Theater Company. And it was a big sing as well. So I don't want to be tempted to hang out with friends or talk on the phone or do things. I just need to have a little vocal cool down after the show. and then again do something kind of physically reset. It probably isn't a full workout,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll do something before the matinee and again between usually.
Yeah. Yeah, can you explain what Forbidden Broadway is if people don't know?
Oh yeah, sure. So it ran off and on for 25 or 30 years. I was in the first edition I was in was the 25th anniversary edition, and they came back and they did a really clever new version last season, I guess. That was also great. But anyway, and I was a fan long before I was ever in it. What it is a parody show. So the creator and writer George Alessandrini, is it Gerard Alessandrini? Or Gerard, takes the shows that are hits of the season and he essentially rewrites the hit songs from those shows or the songs people recognize. He rewrites the lyrics in order to parody the show. The most famous of his parodies, I think, is from Les Mis, Bring Him Home is Bring It Down. God, it's high, this song's too high, pity me, change the key. Which is genius. I heard in an interview, I heard Hugh Jackman sing it when he was doing the Les Mis movie. Like, that is a big deal. Like, Hugh Jackman
for sure.
singing your song. I mean, I did it. Forbidden also had a lot of sort of road gigs. Like, we would be booked, even when you weren't doing the show in New York, or if you weren't doing the show in New York, they might ask you to do something. I performed the show in Singapore, which is the most exotic, and I performed it in Dubuque, which is the least exotic, and kind of everywhere in between. We did a run in Dallas. Sometimes they're one night, sometimes they're a run, but so we've all, anyway. Does that answer the question?
So sounds good to me. What musicals have you seen this season for Forbidden Broadway, I'm guessing?
Oh, I don't think so. Forbidden Broadway is not running right now. Let me find out. What musicals have you seen this season? Yeah, I think just on Broadway. That is my husband asking that question, by the way. Hi. What have I seen? We saw, I never remember what I've seen after I've seen it. Jagged Little Pill, which my friend Elizabeth Stanley is the lead of, and she's a gift. Oh gosh. I saw a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to remember anything on the spot. But I do love to go to the theater. He sees everything. My husband sees every show, every time. He never misses anything, and I see every fourth and fifth one. And sadly, of course, this whole thing closed Broadway down. So there are several that I don't think will reopen because it's just too expensive a thing to do.
Yeah. Do you think in the Broadway world, do you think things will come back together again after this is over, or do you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. But they have to consider, the producers have to consider not just the audience in the theater being close to each other and wanting to keep them out of harm's way, but anyone who's ever been backstage at a show knows that it's close quarters. And Broadway theaters are no different. Like, the house may be big, but often the wings are very small. The dressing room spaces can be cramped. And a lot of those buildings are pretty old, so they can also be kind of damp. And actually, when the coronavirus started, kind of impacting New York, it spread very quickly in the Broadway community because it's such close quarters.
Exactly.
So I know dozens of people, myself included, who've had it.
Okay.
Yeah, my taste thankfully was not very bad, but
Okay, good.
It did. Yeah. You just, it's hard. We're all so close together in New York in general. But anyway, but to answer your question about Broadway, I know that it will come back. I know that there will be a demand for live theater. But I don't think anyone anticipates that happening before next spring. So it'll be March or April, I think. In time for summer and tourist season and all that stuff.
Let's see. What is your favorite show you've been a part of?
I have a lot of favorites, and for different reasons. So, recently, I did an off-Broadway show last summer that called I Spy Spy, which is a silly, campy musical, but what was exceptional about that was that I loved the people in it so much, and I made some really good friends. That Sweeney Todd was one of the most beautiful stage I've never been a part of. I've never worn clothes like that. The costumes were gorgeous and all made for us. And I had several featured roles, but I was not like a lead by any means.
Yeah.
I wasn't Sweeney. I was Pirelli, the barber. So I died Act 1. So then I was Fogg, the innkeeper of the asylum. So I die in Act 2. And then a couple of little things. But yeah, that was amazing. I think probably my favorite role. Many years ago, I played Bobby in a production company, and that was pretty extraordinary. Like, that was just great. But it's been a long time now. Then I guess that's my favorite.
Nice. Yeah, it's great. What was the audition process like for Britain Broadway?
Oh, good question. So it's interesting because they like voices. Gerard, the creator, likes legit singers in particular. And he tends for the women, everything's harder if you're a woman in this business, and probably in everything. But they have to really both have legit soprano and belt and like be very facile in that way. For the men, I'm trying to remember what I sang. I don't think it was especially funny. So I had auditioned not long after I moved to New York. Was working with an agent who submitted me for it. I auditioned. They were lovely. I was not called back. They did not keep me. Many years later, I was singing, and this is a good lesson for you and everyone. I used to sing a lot for new composers at something called the BMI workshop, which is so new composers, new musical theater composers, or not necessarily new theater composers in training can come and share music that they're working on with their class or their workshop. And I used to do it a lot because I'm a good side singer. I'm a quick study in that way. And Gerard was a guest there. He was the Forbidden Broadway creator. And right after that, he called me and said, we're looking for somebody for the summer. It's just for 3 months. If that, like, we just need somebody for a couple of months while someone else is out of town. Do you want to come in? And of course I did. And there were only 2 of us there. I think I know who the other guy was, but we've never really talked about it. But anyway, someone I'd become friends with. But I went and I sang a legit ballad. That's what they wanted to hear. They wanted you singing. And then they handed me 3 things. One was Mandy Patinkin. One was Alan Cumming from Cabaret. And I can't remember the other one. And they're like, we'll work with you on the impression. Don't worry too much about that. Just make some choices. So I made some choices. Came in and the next day they called me and offered me the job, which was lovely and thrilling. I learned later that Gerard had told the director, we hired this new guy. He has a beautiful voice. He's not very funny, but he'll be a good straight man. He's good for that. And then during the rehearsal process, the director said, I don't know, I think he might be funny. Let's give him something to do and see how he does. And it worked out. So
that's funny. That's funny. Let's see. Do you have anything that you want to promote for your own thing?
I mean, not especially. Well, I will tell you, during one of the products of this bananas time, is that my husband and I have started a baking show on YouTube, which is neither one of us really bakes. It's called Baking with Mark and James, MARC. If you look it up on YouTube, it comes right up. And we've done 7 or 8, and just every week, every Sunday afternoon, we release another. It's essentially a 7-minute blooper reel. Like, if we were a real cooking show, all of those things would be cut. Like, we're just are ridiculous. And I have a little more cooking background, so we kind of figure our way out, and sometimes they're terrible, and sometimes they turn out pretty good. We made cinnamon buns last week that were really tasty.
That's great. I love that. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for talking
Thank
with
you,
us
Ethan.
today.
My pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I look forward to it. Good luck with
Yeah.
everything.
Thank you.
Let me know if you need anything.
Okay. Thank
Be
you.
good. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Take care of yourself.
Thank you guys for watching this P3 Educates Live with James Donegan, and tune in next Tuesday with Tech Talk with Ethan, which is our other show, starring me. And I'll be interviewing Jessica Rivera, the technical director at Renaissance High School for the Arts. So tune in for that. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next Tuesday. Bye.